Hello and welcome to Steph's Point. Today we are talking all about feet. Like my beautiful owl socks? I know. You want a lot from your feet, don't you? Beautiful point, higher releve, nice bevel, all the things. And according to the information on the internet, you can get all of these things just by buying one of these. Or by doing this, or that. Well, I hate to break it to you folks, but most of these things are actually completely useless, if not somewhat dangerous. They usually cause more harm to your feet than good. So we're just gonna toss these out. And instead, let's talk about some of the things that you can do to improve your point and all around flexibility and strength and stability in your feet. We're gonna talk about these things right now. First, we need to sort out our priorities. Stretching your feet should not be your main way of improving your point or your range. Did you know you actually have 28 bones, 30 joints, and over 100 muscles and ligaments in your feet? That's a lot of sensitive material, folks. And pushing and pressing and pulling on that is only going to lead you to potential overstretching, which can lead to injuries. So, strengthening should be your #1 goal in how you improve your feet. So, how do we actually strengthen our feet? Well, there are so many great exercises out there. I've actually created an entire video dedicated to helping you follow along with all of my favorite ways to strengthen and stretch my feet. But I'd like to tell you about the 4 main techniques that you should use when approaching improving your dance feet. #1 is to always press to your fullest releve. How often do you actually press to your highest releve? You will never increase the range of motion in your feet unless if you actually push to your fullest range in the first place. So going through plies, you can do the following. Plie, press your heels into a nice full releve position, all the way as high as they can go, deep stretch. Then straighten through your knees and try to leave your heels exactly where they are. Don't move them at all. Just straighten the knees. You'll feel a nice good stretch in your feet. And then lower your heels nice and slow. Do this a couple times with your feet turned out. You can do it with your feet in parallel, and then you can actually reverse the exercise. If you do this exercise and you do it with full intention of going to your highest releve, you will see improvement in your releve range. You have to push to the end of your range in order to push past the end of your range and increase your range of motion. The second way I like to improve my feet is by pressing into the floor until my foot comes to a full point, and then pulling my foot back in, using the floor as resistance to articulate my feet. So I press through the floor until my foot comes to a full point, massaging the floor all the way. And then I articulate through the ball of my foot until it pulls all the way back in and my heel touches the floor. Yes, folks, I am talking about tendus. I know, revolutionary. But seriously, it's not just about doing tendus, it's about how you do them. How much do you actually articulate your feet as you're going out and as you're coming back in from your tendu? How you articulate your feet and how you resist into the floor is going to determine how useful that tendu is for you. Just going through the motion of doing tendus and pointing and pulling your foot in is not going to benefit you very much. You have to use the floor as resistance and push and pull with the floor, okay? The third thing I like to do to improve my feet is what I call wing pulses. How many times have you heard people tell you, don't sickle your feet, stop sickling your feet? I'm sure that every dancer has heard that term at least once in their life. However, we are rarely told how to actually improve the strength in our feet so that they don't want to sickle. Sickling is just a sign that you're trying to point super hard, but the wrong muscles are activating. So how do you train the muscles that you want to activate to do so? Well, you can do wing pulses. So what you do, it's super simple. You just point your foot as hard as you can and then lengthen out towards your pinky toe, turning your foot out in the opposite direction of a sickle. You will then let it go back to neutral and wing it out and neutral and go wing and neutral and go wing and neutral. You'll feel some tiny little muscles on the outside of your ankle and the outside of your calf start to activate, and they'll actually start to get quite fatigued very quickly if you haven't done these before. Do it until you feel a nice fatigue, then roll your ankle out, give it a little stretch, and do a couple more. If you practice this a couple times a week, you will have beautiful beveled feet. Nobody wants a sickled foot. Have you seen a sickled foot? It's disgusting. It looks like a floppy fish hanging off the end of your leg. No one wants to see that, okay? So, wing pulses, my favorite thing to do to improve the bevel of your point. The fourth thing that I like to do to help my feet is Irene Dowd foot exercises. If you don't know who Irene Dowd is, she was actually a professor at Juilliard and wrote many, many books on injury prevention in dance. And she created an entire series of foot exercises to improve your feet and to prevent injuries while you're dancing. My point video that I linked in the description box below actually features some of her techniques, so be sure to check that out or look her up yourself. She's an amazing woman and has done so much work on injury prevention for dancers and athletes in general. She's amazing. Don't waste your time on gimmicky devices or listen to the advice of young people online telling you to stick your feet under the couch. Tugging and pulling on your feet is only going to cause them to be more susceptible to getting injured and cause you more pain in the long run. The way to improve your feet is to strengthen your feet and to lengthen them using their natural muscular structure instead of pulling and tugging and yanking on them into weird positions that they're not meant to be in. So, I hope you found all these tips helpful, and if you did, be sure to subscribe to my channel because I post all about dance all the time. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I've created an entire dedicated video to help you follow along with me in how I strengthen and stretch and elongate my beautiful feetsies. So if you're interested in that, click the link in the description box below. But that's all I have for you today, folks, and may your feet take you where your heart wants to go. Bye, guys.